their SAT lab, and I spoke briefly about that at the last meeting. Dr. Edney has the students go through benchmarking to identify deficits as far as taxes related, and those students work diligently with software and with instruction to address their deficits in those areas. Once those are met, then the students will focus on the SAT. Our students have a better chance of scholarships if they enter in as a freshman with good SAT scores. So we're very concerned on making sure that they're getting the highest scores possible. So for both the fall and spring semesters, the juniors are enrolled in SAT labs. For the seniors, we have a transition class for the seniors. One of our purposes or our goals is to ensure when these young students leave us at the age of 18 and they're going to be college juniors, that they are prepared for a 4-year experience. We realize that we must embrace a model of student development. Although we're very nurturing, there comes a point in time when the students must accept some responsibilities so that when they're free to go to the 4-year school, they will know how to navigate those systems. And so the transition class focuses on that. It assists the students with college applications and scholarships. For their last semester with us, the students are enrolled in a senior project course, and this course specifically supports the senior capstone experience. This is very, very unique, and it is required for a distinguished graduation. The students identify an area that they believe they want to invest in their career, and they do an incredible amount of research and looking at that and how they can tie that with one of the UN Millennial Goals. It is very scholarly, it is publication ready, and they must be prepared to do a formal presentation sometime in April, and different individuals from the college grade these projects. If you're available at that time in April, we would be delighted to have you come and look at what our students have accomplished. It is absolutely phenomenal. One thing that we learned very quickly with the collegiate high school is that we had to blend in high school into a college environment. Frequently our students ask, well, is it a high school, is it a college? It's both. One thing that we stress in our information sessions is that our instructors do have academic freedom. We are very open with our parents that we will not infringe on their academic freedom. Another issue that we have to discuss with the parents is adult content, adult environment. These students are not used to seeing someone my age sitting in the class next to them. They're not used to seeing probably a lot of diversity depending on the school they come from. They're not used to the freedom that they're given. And so we have to inform them of this. They also have to get prepared to work with instructor syllabi. This is another one of those student development issues. When they go to the 4-year school and looking at that and being accountable for what the instructor is telling you you need to do to be successful. Another component of the high school environment that we had to embed into the college environment is attendance. We are funded daily average attendance, and so although attendance is not required for a college instructor, any instructor that has a high school student in his class is required to submit an attendance. So we collect those on a daily basis, and we actually have an attendance coordinator. Another unique difference is grading. I think you probably have all heard various stories lately about how some ISDs will not give below a 50 or a 60 for a grade. We feel like it's important that our parents know that when the students come to the college, if you don't turn the work in, you're probably going to get a 0. So instead of starting off with a 50, if you don't do your assignments, you're really behind the 8 ball. That's another one of those learning experiences. Something else that's unique is we are building a college and a high school transcript at the same time. These support labs will not be reflected on the college credit transcript, but they will be reflected on the high school transcript. Another issue that we discuss with students, we provide them structured study time. In the math labs, we're not giving additional work, we're helping them to learn the concepts that they have been exposed to during their math classes. In the SAT, they're not taking that work home, we're working on that in the class. So many times they're in a structured environment, but our students are also working with their advisors to learn how to behave and how to use their unstructured time. Something else that's very, very important that our students and parents understand is the amount of study time that's required of our students. Right now, our juniors are enrolled in 21 credit hours. And the rule of thumb is for every hour in class, you spend 2 hours outside of class.
Excuse me, 21 hours in one semester?
Yes.
How does that work?
We are enrolling them in the English and history. We are enrolling them in a math class. We enroll them in a science class. And then depending on what their future is, if they say that they're going into math, we may look at their career path and see another appropriate course. Would it be a philosophy course or not? This cycle we also have them enrolled in a human development class, HDEB 1300, which will be switching off to the learning framework course in the fall.
The reason I ask is because 21 hours for a regular college student would be very challenging. Is this because the high school students are required to be in study or in school a certain amount of hours? That's why they're able to take this many hours in one semester?
It is one thing that you'll see on another slide, we must address the TEA requirement of 4 hours of instruction per day, 240 minutes. That's the minimum requirement. We are giving lots of support, and some of the classes that we have, once again, are not additional work. It's to help them do the work that they're assigned. And when you think, it is staggering to think 21 hours, but when you see the success of these students, it's phenomenal, and that's why we say it is a very rigorous program.
What are the hours? From what time to what time of day?
We tell the students, we tell the students they need to be available from 8 in the morning until about 5. And they're not in classes continuously. Our certification time is at 10:30 in the morning, and every student must be in a class and accounted for at 10:30. We have students that arrive on campus at 10 and go to 5. We have some that arrive at 8 and get out at 1. So their schedules are all different because they are in a college environment with a college schedule. Once again, the study time we really focus on. We encourage them, if at all possible, not to have a job, and some of our students do, and we bring them a lot of support. The other issue that we have to deal with as a high school is student discipline. These are very young students coming to a college environment, and this freedom sometimes is a little overwhelming to them. And so, just like any high school, we deal with student discipline. Before you now is the slide of the distinguished requirements with the 4x4. Our students will be taking 4 credits in math, 4 credits in English, and 4 credits in science. And then you can see the listing of the other courses that they have available to them. As I said earlier, we must comply with TEA requirements. One of those requirements is 180 days of instruction. Our traditional fall and spring semester don't add up to 180 days. So we've added some additional terms. We have August term, that is usually 10 days. We've embedded a January term right after the holidays and before classes start. There's about 5 days. And then our students are also enrolled in a credit class in May term plus additional support material to make the 240 minutes. Once again, this is a requirement, and we will be audited on this.
How many days is your May term?
May term at Richland is usually 11 days to 13 days. And that does complete our 180-day cycle. With our enrollments, as you're aware, the first year that we enrolled, we only had juniors. So you can see the enrollment has increased, and at this point in time, we're right at 390, and we have a capacity up to 600. We are very, very proud of our diversity. You can see there is excellent representation from all the groups. And this is something, if you listen to our senior celebration, they actually comment on about being in this environment has afforded them the opportunity to be exposed to students of other cultures, diversity.
Why do you have such a drop-off in the African-American enrollment for 09?
Honestly, we do not know why that did occur, but that is something that we definitely want to encourage. We want to look at new ways of recruiting African-American students, either through some of our students that are here, but this is just such an excellent opportunity. This is something that we will be looking at and forming some action plans